Part 1. The Hidden Flame. Inside every one of us burns a quiet flame. A strength that's often mistaken for weakness because it doesn't roar, it doesn't demand attention. It waits, patiently, beneath the surface of your doubts, your exhaustion, and the weight of the world's expectations. There is a fire that refuses to die. The truth is, the limits you feel pressing against you aren't walls at all, they're shadows. They are illusions carved from fear, doubt, and the voices of others who never dared to try. The Romans, especially the Stoics, believed that resilience is not something you acquire. It is something you uncover. It has always been there. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself daily that obstacles do not weaken us. They reveal us. Think about it. How many times have you mistaken hesitation for inability? How often have you convinced yourself that your fear was proof of your weakness? Yet every ancient teacher would tell you, hesitation is not weakness. It's the mind pausing before stepping into the unknown. Strength is not found in the absence of fear, but in the act of moving despite it. The fire you're searching for is not outside you, not waiting for the right moment, not dependent on perfect circumstances. It's been with you all along, quietly asking one question. Will you stop doubting me long enough to see what I can do? Part 2. The quiet strength you forgot. At some point in your life, you drifted away from your own strength. It wasn't a choice you made consciously. It happened quietly, like sand slipping through your fingers. Little by little, the voice inside you, the one that once said, "I can," was drowned out by teachers, parents, strangers, and the endless noise of the world telling you what you're not. Society has a way of teaching doubt. From the time we're children, we're measured, compared, and categorized. The system tells us when we're smart enough, fast enough, talented enough. And when we don't fit neatly inside those labels, we begin to believe we are lacking. What we forget is that true strength has never needed permission, recognition, or applause. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Strength is no different. It isn't something granted to you. It's a rhythm already inside you, waiting to be remembered. You've carried it through every storm, every heartbreak, every night when you thought you couldn't endure another tomorrow. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing. That quiet endurance is not weakness. It is proof of the unshakable core within you. The deeper truth? You've never lost it. You've only been taught to doubt it. And beneath all that noise, there remains a still, steady voice whispering, "I was always here. Will you listen to me again?" Part 3. Resilience in silence. Resilience rarely announces itself. It doesn't always appear in grand victories or heroic moments. More often, it lives in silence, in the small choices you've already made to survive what should have broken you. Think of the nights you endured heartbreak but still showed up for work the next morning. The mornings you got out of bed when your body begged you to quit. The moments you carried on when no one noticed, when no one cheered, when the world gave you nothing in return. That is resilience. Carl Jung once wrote, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." The Stoics would have agreed. Your strength is not defined by the blows you've received, but by the fact that you are still here, still choosing. In our modern world, strength often gets painted as something loud. The athlete breaking records, the entrepreneur building empires. But the truth is far simpler and far more human. Strength is the quiet persistence of the parent working 2 jobs to provide, the student refusing to give up despite failure, the soldier who carries both the weight of duty and the silence of memory. Look back at your own life. Every storm you've walked through is a testament. Every scar is proof. If you've survived until now, you carry a history of resilience greater than any fear ahead of you. Part 4. Buried but not lost. There was a time when you didn't second-guess yourself. As a child, you moved with a kind of unshakable clarity. Climbing, running, creating, daring, never stopping to ask, "Am I strong enough?" You simply were. But somewhere along the way, the world began to speak louder than your own instincts. A teacher's criticism, parents' disappointment, a stranger's laughter. One by one, Their voices buried that natural confidence under layers of hesitation. Yet buried does not mean destroyed. Jung reminded us that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. The Stoics, too, believed that the self we seek is never lost. It only waits beneath the noise, ready to be uncovered. Marcus Aurelius wrote that clarity is found not by chasing the world's approval, but by returning inward, stripping away everything that isn't essential. And what is left when the noise is gone? That same spark you carried as a child. That same flame that once told you anything was possible. Society may have tried to silence it, but it is not gone. It only waits for you to listen again. Cultures across history have repeated this lesson. From the Greek concept of arete, excellence as the fulfillment of one's nature, to the Japanese idea of kaizen, continuous growth and return to essence, humanity has always known. Our truest strength is never invented, only remembered. So when you feel lost, don't look outward for rescue. Look inward, because what you're searching for has been with you from the very beginning. Part 5. The Power of Quiet Confidence. True strength does not shout. It doesn't beg for attention, nor does it need validation. Real strength moves like water. Steady, quiet, unstoppable. It flows beneath the surface, carving valleys, reshaping landscapes, leaving behind proof long after the noise of the world has faded. The Stoics called this inner steadiness ataraxia, a calm that cannot be disturbed by chaos. It is not indifference. It is not weakness. It is mastery of the self, a rootedness that no storm can uproot. This is the confidence you've forgotten. Not arrogance, not ego, but certainty. The certainty that you have already survived every worst day of your life. The certainty that the flame inside you has never gone out, no matter how dark the night has been. Confidence is not about believing nothing can hurt you. It's knowing that whatever does, you will endure. It's not about being fearless. It's about walking forward even with fear in your chest. So let the world misunderstand you. Let it doubt you. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You only need to remember what you already are. Resilient, unbroken, and alive with a fire that has outlasted every storm. The next time you face the weight of doubt, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, the flame has always been here, and it will never go out. Part 6. Readiness is born in action. We spend so much of life waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect skill set, the perfect timing, the perfect certainty. But the truth is, readiness is not something you wait for. It is something you create through action. Fear whispers that you're not ready, that you need more preparation, more knowledge, more confidence before you take the step. But fear is clever. It disguises itself as logic, convincing you to stay still, to delay, to wait. And yet, history has never been shaped by those who waited until they felt prepared. Alexander the Great was barely 20 when he launched a campaign that would build one of the largest empires in the ancient world. Was he fully ready? No one ever is. Leonardo da Vinci sketched inventions long before he had the means to build them. Was he certain they would work? Not at all. And the Stoic general Marcus Aurelius did not wait until the empire was peaceful to begin ruling. He faced wars, plagues, and betrayals head-on, learning through the act of governing, not by standing aside. The pattern is always the same. Greatness does not come from waiting until fear disappears. It comes from acting in its presence. The Stoics taught that fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you are standing on the edge of growth. The more fear you feel, the more certain you can be that this step matters. Readiness is forged in motion, in trial, in persistence. It is not the absence of fear, but the decision to walk forward in spite of it. Part 7. The Gatekeeper of the Mind. Every day, there is a voice inside you. Sometimes it speaks in whispers, sometimes in storms. Comments, it judges, it narrates every move you make. And yet most people live their whole lives without realizing the truth. This voice is the gatekeeper of the mind. The way you speak to yourself doesn't just shape your mood. It shapes your nervous system, your actions, and eventually your identity. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The Stoics understood this centuries earlier. Socrates taught that unexamined thoughts can enslave us, while examined ones can set us free. What you repeat to yourself, "I can't, I'm not enough, I'll fail," becomes the architecture of your reality. Modern neuroscience confirms what philosophy intuited. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, means that your thoughts are not just passing clouds. They carve grooves into your mind like rivers shaping stone. The more often you run a thought, the more easily it returns until it becomes automatic, a habit loop. But here's the truth. If thoughts can be wired in, they can also be rewired. Your internal script is not final. It is editable. Each time you interrupt a negative loop, each time you replace self-criticism with self-direction, you are editing the code of your nervous system. You are training your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. The Stoics called this mastery of perception. They believed we cannot always control events, but we can always choose the story we attach to them. And if you can edit the story, you can edit your life. So ask yourself, what script are you repeating? Whose voice are you carrying? Because until you take authorship of your inner dialogue, you'll remain a prisoner of words that were never truly yours. The gatekeeper of the mind is always listening. The question is, who is writing the script? Part 8. The Trap of Comparison. Every scroll, every glance, every passing thought seems to whisper the same poison. You are behind. Social media has built a hall of mirrors where everyone else appears richer, stronger, happier, more successful. But what you're seeing is not truth. It's a performance, a carefully edited illusion. The Stoics warned against this trap long before Instagram existed. They knew that measuring yourself by other standards is slavery. Epictetus wrote, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" He meant that freedom comes not from chasing the approval of others, but from aligning with your own path. Aristotle called it telos, the unique purpose, the end toward which a thing naturally strives. An acorn is not meant to become a rose. A ship is not meant to be a mountain. And you are not meant to be anyone but yourself. To compare your timeline to another's is to miss your telos entirely. Look at the cultural lens. In ancient societies, worth was not measured in likes, followers, or metrics. A farmer was judged by the strength of his harvest. A philosopher by the clarity of his thought. A warrior by his courage in battle. Each had their own measure, rooted in contribution, not competition. Today, the obsession with numbers has collapsed these distinctions into a single shallow currency: attention. And in chasing it, we forget our purpose. Comparison is a trap because it pulls you out of your life and into someone else's. It convinces you that your worth is conditional, always at risk, always needing proof. But the Stoics remind us, your value is not up for auction. It is intrinsic. The antidote to comparison is not indifference, it is detachment. To step back from the endless scoreboard and ask, what is my telos? What is the life only I can live? Because the moment you return to your own path, the illusion shatters. You realize you were never behind. You were simply facing the wrong direction. Part 9. Courage in the ordinary. We often imagine courage as something dramatic, a battlefield charge, a climactic speech, a life or death rescue. But the truth is far less glamorous. Real courage is lived quietly, in the ordinary moments that never make headlines. Resilience is not forged in a single act of heroism. It is the daily decision to keep going when no one is watching. It is the worker who shows up every morning despite exhaustion. The parent who sacrifices sleep to protect and nurture their child. The soldier who endures long stretches of silence, discipline, and waiting, not just the clash of battle. Plato described this as self-conquest. The greatest victory, he said, is not over others but over yourself, over the temptations, the fears, and the doubts that pull you away from what you know is right. Courage, then, is not just about confronting the external world but mastering the internal one. Modern culture celebrates the extraordinary, yet the fabric of society is held together by the ordinary, by millions of invisible acts of strength, endurance, and quiet integrity. These are not small. They are the foundation upon which everything else rests. The Stoics believed that identity is defined not in public gestures but in private moments. Who you are when no one is looking, that is your true measure. To choose honesty over convenience. To choose discipline over comfort. To choose persistence over despair. Every small decision becomes a thread. Over time, those threads weave the tapestry of your character. That tapestry is who you are. So remember, courage is not waiting for a stage or a spotlight. It is found in the kitchen, the classroom, the field, the office, in every choice you make when no one else will ever applaud you. Integrity in the private moments is what defines you in the end. Part 10. Fear, Discipline, and Liberation. Fear is not your enemy. It is a spotlight. It shows you exactly where the work must be done. Carl Jung said it best. Where your fear is, there is your task. The places you resist, the paths that make your heart race. Those are not walls to avoid, but doorways to walk through. Discipline is how you step through them. Not as punishment, not as self-denial, but as freedom. Because discipline is the art of choosing what matters most over what feels easiest. It is structure that creates space, not prison bars that confine. The disciplined person is not less free. They are more free because they are no longer enslaved by impulse. The Stoics saw this clearly. Liberation comes not from controlling outcomes, but from controlling actions. You cannot dictate the world's response, but you can govern your effort. You cannot guarantee applause, but you can guarantee integrity. Transformation is never one grand leap. It is small steps, repeated steadily with courage. Fear points the way. Discipline carries you forward. And together they forge liberation. The quiet confidence of someone who does not need to escape themselves, because they are already free within. In the end, you do not master life by force. You master it through alignment, steady action, clear intention, detachment from what you cannot control. That is where strength becomes serenity. So let fear guide you. Let discipline steady you. And let the fire within you burn not in bursts, but in a calm, unshakable flame.